So permit me to introduce the facilitators for today's program. Ms. Kausa, please kindly unmute yourself and proceed with the class. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'll be the facilitator for the first session of today's class. So let me share my screen so that we can all see what we want to do today. Yeah, I think we can all see my screen, right? All right, thank you. So good day once again, everyone. I'm Kauthar Abla by name, and I'm going to be a facilitator for the first half of today's session. For today, we're going to be dealing with, so for this session, we're going to be dealing with two topics. We have error handling in Python and file handling. For error handling in Python, our objective for this section is to learn the various error types that we have in Python, how to raise errors, and how to handle errors using try and except blocks. Then for file handling, in this section, we are going to be teaching ourselves how to read from and write to different file formats, specifically the text file and the CSV file. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, let's go straight to today's business. So error handling in Python. To start with, what are errors? I know we all have one or two idea about what error could possibly mean. So what do we mean by error in Python? Errors are issues that arise. There are issues that arise when interpreter cannot execute a program due to one reason or the other. So in Python, errors are issues that arise when interpreter cannot execute a program due to one reason or the other. There are lots of reasons why errors can occur in Python while writing your codes. So what is error handling itself? So error handling is a fundamental aspect of writing robust Python programs. Error handling allows developers to anticipate, to detect, and to solve issues that might arise during program execution. Remember, we said errors are issues that arise. So error handling is just a way, it's just an aspect of to anticipate, to detect, and to solve issues that might arise during program execution. Okay, so we have a number of errors. We have a number of error types, which we are going to talk about one after the other. But before we go there, before we talk about each of these errors, so we said we're going to talk about the raising of errors, catching and handling errors, and the try except blocks. Okay, so the error types we have in Python are numerous actually, but these are just a few of them. We have name error, we have attributes error, we have type error, index, indentation, syntax, zero division error, we have attributes error, we have value error, we have Unicode decoder error, we have a lot of error. So these are just a few of them. So for us to understand what each of these error means, so we're going to be working with examples. Okay, so for the first example we're going to give ourselves, you'll remember that from the last class, you were taught what function is and how to define a function, if I'm not mistaken. Then, so we're going to give ourselves examples on, we're going to define a function to know if a word is a palindrome or not. So that's the example we want to use to show ourselves these different error types in Python. Okay, so let's go straight to the point by defining our function, our palindrome function. We all know to define a function, we use the word def. So, okay. So I have def. What's the name of the function I want to create? I have palindrome. Okay, so what's my argument going to be? I want it to be a word. Okay, then word is equals to, so I want the word to anything I input inside that word, I want it to convert it to lowercase. I'm going to use dot lower. I think we remember this from the last class. Dot lower to return back to lowercase. Then reverse word dots. Okay. Okay, I want it to reverse that word. So it's going to start from the back. Going to start from the back. Okay. So I'm trying to define the function here. This is my f string. Okay. The word, I think we remember our placeholder from the last class. So we've done this before. I just want to, that's why I'm rushing to write this. We've done this in the last class. So I just want to print the word is not a palindrome. I think I made a mistake here. It's not a palindrome. Okay. Then I have my string back and I'm going to run this. So for some people might be asking that what does a palindrome mean? I did not explain that. So a palindrome is a word or phrase that reads it reads the same either forward or backward. So it's the same meaning either reading it from the front to the back, or if you're reading it backwards from the back to the end. For example, EY is an example of a palindrome. EYE from the front to the back is the same thing as EYE. It's giving us the same meaning. Then dad, DAD. I think we understand. So that's what a palindrome means. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, so my code has run. So let me write down my palindrome so that it can print it out. Good. So I want to check if dad is actually a palindrome. So all I'm going to do is call my function name, which I've defined here. Then I input the name that I want to use. Let's see if dad is a palindrome. Yes, the word dad is a palindrome. So that means our function has worked. So let's go straight to the business of the day, the different error types that we have. Okay, let's talk about name error. Name error. One of the error types we have in Python is name error. Let's say, for example, while writing my code, I wrote palindrome. I want to check if dad is a palindrome. So I wrote dad. This is going to return a name error. Why is this taking time? So, okay. It's going to return a name error. Can we see? So a name error basically means when you are trying to call a variable name that is not defined. This dad here is not defined. You'll notice that we use this is the same dad that we use here. And this is not returning error. Why this is returning error? That's because this is not in a string. So if it is in a string, it means it has been defined, then it's not going to return error. So that's the first error type that we have in Python. Then we have, let's see another error. We have what we call the attributes error. Let me see. Attributes error. Okay. Okay. Let's see. The name of our function here again is palindrome. Let's say dot remove. So if I run this is going to give me an error. Can we see? Attributes error. Function object has no attributes remove. What this simply means is that our function here does not have any attribute known as remove. So when you are trying to use a wrong method, you are using a totally wrong method for a function, for a string, or for whatsoever is going to return attribute zero, in as much as that thing does not have that attribute or that method you are assigning it to it. Another close example we can use is for us to understand this attribute error better. Let's say, for example, we have x is equals to name. You all agree with me that name here is a string. Yeah. So I want to say x dot. Normally, if I say x dot upper is one of the methods used in string. Yeah. So it's going to convert that to uppercase. So it does it. But if I use the wrong method, let's say, for example, let's use one of the methods in lists. We have, let's use sort. Dot sort. We all know that dot sort is a method in list. So if I should use dot sort here, this is going to return an error for me. Can we see? Attributes error. String object, which is our x, has no attribute sort. Sort is not an attribute of string. It's not one of the methods we use for string. So that is exactly what happened here as well. Okay, so moving forward, let's see what other errors do we have. Okay, we have what we call type error. We have type error. Type error. Okay, let's say, for example, type error is when you are using when you are using a wrong data type. Let's say, for example, I want to say if palindrome. We all know that palindrome here is a function. We all defined it. We defined it up there. If function is greater than 5, print palindrome. Print palindrome. Okay. So here, obviously, we said if palindrome, which is a function, is greater than 5, is it possible for a function to be greater than an integer? Obviously not. So type error. The greater than is not supported between instances of function and int. You cannot say if function is greater than an integer. That is not possible. Or let's another example, just like I did today. Let's say x is equals to let's say string. I have data science, and I'm saying x is greater than, our x here is data science. Don't forget, if I print x here, my x here is data science. So I'm now saying my x is greater than 5, or any integer, or greater than any number 5. Obviously, my this is a string, so it is not possible. Type error. Greater than not supported between instances of string and integer. Okay, so another example of error type that we have is let me, okay, yeah, we have index error. We have index error. So how does this work? This is when the error, the index you are trying to call is out of range. Say for example, we have a is equals to, let's call out open brackets. We have 1, 10, 5, 2, this and that. Then I want to call the first index. You all remember to call index, you use your square brackets, and we all remember that from the last class, that our first index starts from 0. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I should call index 2, it's going to run and it's going to give me the value of 2 because this is 0, 1, 2. But let's say I call an index of, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say I call 5. Index error. Tuple index is out of range. So this 5 has exceeded the number of indexes that we have in this particular variable. Okay, so that's that. Then another error type that we have is we have zero division error. We have a lot of them actually. We have a lot of error type. Okay, zero division error. Say for example, we all know that you cannot divide anything by 0. If you have 1 divided by 0, it's not going to give you an answer. That's like an error. Division by 0, zero division error. Another example is, let's say for example, I want to, okay, let me name my variable num. Num is equals to, I want to input any number, and the number has to be an integer. So I write input, enter, okay, enter any number. Okay, and I want the number that should be inputted here should be to be an integer. So all I have to do is int. Okay, int. So divide is equals to 1, just like we did up there. 1 divided by number. So any number that you input, 1 divided by whatever number that you input here, then print divide. Print the value of whatever it is that's divided. Print divide. So if I should run this, it's going to ask me to input any number. So this, it has run the first line, enter any number which I've written it. So let me input 1. If I input 1 and run it, 1, enter any number 1. So 1 that is there divided by the number I imputed, which is 1, is 1, obviously. Let's now say I input 0. The number I imputed, I wish like imputing is 0. And I run this, it's going to give me zero division error because 1 divided by the number that I've entered, just like I have here, is not possible. There's no way you're going to divide the number by 0. So that's about zero division error. Another error type that we have in Python is file not found error, which we have here. Say for example, you want to import a file from your folder and you mistakenly imported the wrong file directory, or maybe the file you the path which you created for, which you wrote for Python is not correct, or even the file name itself is not correct, it's going to return file not found error. For instance, here I tried to import this particular file random text.txt, but it's returned this error because it cannot find this particular text, but I know where the error is. So if I change, since it's raising this error, if I change it to this, this should not return error anymore. Can you see that the error is gone? So the essence of learning what errors and error handling is for you to be able to trace back errors and know where the error is coming from. Okay, so having talked about the different error types we have in Python, let's quickly talk about the how to catch and undo errors in Python. So we're going to be catching and handling our errors here with what we call the try and except blocks. The try and except blocks. So what does the try block does and what does the except block does? So the try block, what it's going to do for you is that it's going to that code that you are writing that might raise an error, that is where you are going to write your try block. And for the except blocks, that is where you are going to the code that is going to execute if if what you are writing encounter any error whatsoever. So the code that is going to execute instead for you to be writing all these long error that might even confuse you and start giving you a data. Oh God, what is this? What's the meaning of this? So instead of giving it headache. So you're going to catch the error by what we call the except block. So let's see how let's talk about let's give ourselves examples on this. So how to undo errors with try except blocks. Okay. So for example, I have just like I did up here. Where is it again? Like here, yeah. That's exactly what I want to do. Okay, so I've named my variable num. So input any number, divide is equals to 1 divide. So any number that you input here, normally if I write 0, and it is going to tell me 0 division error. So I want it to be in such a way that even if this error occur, I want it to catch the error and give me a better information that is not going to like that's not going to like scare me away, and it's going to convey the same information but in a better way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to use my try. Let me start from the scratch so that we can understand. Okay, so I've named this. So the try, I have my try, then my colon. Hope you are following. Then the next thing for me to do is my divide. Okay, is equals to, so if I divide 1 divided by whatever number, this number that I input here, whatever number that I input here, so print divide, print the value of the division for me, print this value for me, this is the number. So print divide, print this 1 divided by what? If I input 1, so it's going to print 1 divided by 1 is 1, so it's going to print 1 for me. If I input 2, 1 divided by 2 is going to divide that for me and give me 0.5. So print divide. So, but I'm already anticipating an error that what if anyone tries to impute 0. I know if they impute 0, it's going to return error, and returning error is going to affect my code. For example, if I have to write like lines and lines and lines of codes that might be too much, if at some point it encounters error, might disturb the whole process of execution. So that's the essence of catching and handling error. So this is how we are going to catch the error. So all I have to do is write my except block, except. Then what you want to write, the next thing you're going to write is that error type that you are expecting. I'm expecting that the most likely error type that is going to follow this, if peradventure, if anyone writes 0 for this number, is 0 division error. So I'm going to write that 0 division error. Okay. Print so what is it going to print for me? So if you divide this and you encounter someone writing num as 0, we all know it's zero division error. But instead of printing all these error, all these red errors type, just tell me, just print for me. You cannot use 0. Use another number. Use another number. Okay. So if I should run this, it might bring error. Let me run. This is most likely going to bring another error. Syntax error. Can you see? This is another error. I think we talked about syntax error earlier. Okay, so where is the error coming from? Okay. It's another error, indentation error. I did this purposely. This is where it is coming from. We did not talk about indentation error earlier. Indentation error is another error type. So all you have to do is look at where that error is coming from. Okay. Print is, if you can see my screen clearly, you'll see an arrow pointing that this is where the error is coming from. That means I have to indent my code properly. Can you see? Okay, so let me rerun the code. Good. So if I input 1, it's going to divide 1 divided by the number is 1.0. Let's say if I input 0, 0 normally is supposed to return 0 division error, but no, it said you cannot use 0, use another number, just as we've defined here. So that is how to undo errors using what we call the try and except block. And another example we have here is, say for example, we have we want to open a text file. And I'm going to teach us how to open a text file subsequently as we move forward in today's class. So I open a file, then we've opened this particular directory as text file, and it's read this file. So I'm telling it that okay, let me do this. So that we can understand properly. Okay. So I'm telling it to open this particular file. Good. That's read the file for me. Let's now say, for example, I made a mistake here. Wow, file not found. It cannot find this file. So how do I catch this particular error if I encounter something like this? That is exactly what we did here. So let's say this part is not correct. I've changed a character there. So I'm telling it that if we eventually read this file, except if the kind of error you encounter is a file not found error, print error file not found, just like we did here. Print, you cannot use 0, use another number instead of telling me 0 division error. So instead of telling me file not found error, just print out error file not found. Or else, if you can find the path, then print file read successfully. And finally print execution complete. So if I should run this particular code, let's see, file not found error. That means it could not find this particular directory. That was why it's returned file not found and execution complete. But let's say random. which is the actual file path, then file read successfully. So basically, that's how to use the try and except block. Used for the try, under the try block, you are going to write what that code that is most likely going to raise an error, and for the except, you are going to specifically define what you want the code, what you want the output to be when this issue eventually occur, instead of writing a whole lot of all these errors and that. And to read an error, what you just need to do is look at, when you see an error, you don't need to be scared and run away and leave it like that. You have to tackle what the problem is. I have file not found error, and it's pointing to number one. That means the error is coming from this particular line. The error could be pointing anywhere. So look at where the arrow is pointing towards. So that means my error is from this line. So I need to check this line and see carefully where my error is. And you know, just like I did, I know the error was from this particular distance, and I've changed it. So that's that about error error types and how to catch and undo errors. So very quickly, we'll be moving to file handling. So we'll be talking about the different file formats, specifically the text format and the CSV file. Okay, so generally we all know that, I don't know if you know actually, data analysis process, we have data collection, we have the data cleaning or wrangling, and we have data exploration and visualization as all the processes of data analysis. So, but for this under file handling, we'll be talking about the data collection. So importing files, there are two major types of files. We have the Excel files, which could be .xlx or .xlsx. We have the flat files, which could be .csv or .tsv. That's comma separated values, or TSV, tab separated values. Other types of files are, we have the text files, that's .txt. We have the JSON files, .json. Also, while collecting data can also be collected in form of from the internet through web scraping. You can collect them in .html, .xml, internet, and all of that. For the purpose of this class, we're going to be talking about the text file. So, what is a text file? A text file is a file that contains plain, very plain, human readable text without any special formatting. It's basically text, just as the name implies. Then text file is the simplest of all the type of file that we have, and it has a .txt extension. Note that .txt extension. By extension, we mean the extension that the file is going to be saved in. Okay, then the how to open a txt file. To open a txt file, all you have to do is, let me create, okay, yeah, we use what we called with open to open a txt file. So after that, with open, you open your brackets. Inside your brackets, you have the name of that txt file, whatever the name might be. For example, up there we have demo file, for example, .txt. Then we're going to have the mode. What mode do you want to use? We have different modes actually, which I'm going to talk about subsequently, but let's use the default one. We have the rich text. Then we have encoding. What do we mean by encoding? We have encoding. Yeah. So what do we mean by encoding? Encoding basically is basically to ensure that the correct interpretation of the file's content is made when opened. Sometimes when you are trying to open a text file, it might return error. It might return a Unicode decode error. That's if what you are trying to open has not encoded, or is not in this thing is not interpreting it very well, so it might return error. So that's the essence of encoding. So it's going to help you interpret whatever it is you want to open very well. So it's going to prevent what we call the Unicode code error. And some of the encodings that we have the UTF-8, we have the ASCII, we have the ISO 88591. We have so many of them, but the most commonly used one, the widely used encoding we use is the UTF-8. Because the modern supports many modern application and supports almost all characters from all languages. So that is why we make use of the UTF-8. So this is how to open a TXT file as whatever it is you want to open it as. Okay. So don't let me use just a dummy data. Let's actualize this. Let's open correct this too. I already have some text file. So let's use, let me see, my story txt. Okay, f.read. See, I was not scared when the thing brought out error because you just have to be calm and know what the error is all about and know how to fix yourself. Okay. So just like we said, the open function is the key function for working with files in Python, and the open function has two parameters, just like we said earlier. The file name, which is what I've defined here. This is the file name. This is my file name that I want to open, and this is the mode. This is the mode that I want to use. So that would take us to the different modes that we have in to open a text file. We have there are different four modes for opening a text file, for opening files. We have R, which means read. We have A, append, W, write, X, create. Then we have the T, which is the text mode, B, binary mode. So what basically does this R read does? What it does is that it opens a file for reading. So anytime you make use of R, yeah, I can change it to R. So it's still going to do the same thing for me. It's going to do the same thing for me. So R here is going to open a file for reading. And if the file you are trying to open does not exist, it's going to return error. I hope we are noting that. Then we have append. What the append is going to do is that it's going to open a file for appending. Okay. It's going to sorry. What the append is going to do is that it's going to open a file for appending and create the file if the file does not exist. Okay. So what I did earlier was I just opened and read this particular file. So I wanted to print out what it has read for me. So I just added the print and it's read out what we have inside this file. Okay. So then W, which is write, is going to open a file for writing. It's going to create a file if the file is trying to write does not exist. It's going to create another one. Then the X, which is create, is going to create specified file and it's going to return error if the file is trying to create does not exist. So in addition, the the file should be handled as, can either be handled as binary or text. So this is the text mode and the binary mode. The text mode, that's basically the default of whatever file you're trying to open, and binary, example, we have images. Okay, I think my time is going. Okay, let me just be quick with this. Okay, so how do we read file? You know, we've talked about the different modes. So the read, the append, write, create, and all of that. So how do we, there are different ways of reading. We can read all the old files. We can read by line, we can read line by line, we can read two lines, we can read all of, so how do we do all of that? So if the file is located in the same folder as Python, there is no need for us to specify, just like I did here. So I just need to run this, and it's going to work. It's going to work. But what if this particular file does not exist and we need to look for it in our uh, another directory, probably in our if it's not in our working directory, and we need to look for the directory. So you just need to look for the path where this is, and you just write it there. For example, let's say okay, I don't have my this thing here. Let's just move forward. So what I'm trying to say is, if, for example, you're not working, what you want to use here is not inside your working directory. So you just have to specify the particular path that you want it to read from. Okay, so how to read only part of the file. Say, for example, you want it to, you know what I have here, it's read everything for me. That's because I wrote f dot read. Read is by default is going to read everything for you. Say I want to just a part, and I want it to read just 20 characters. All I have to do is input 20. That's f dot read the just 20 characters, and it's going to read 20 characters for me. Can you see? Then to return a specific character, okay, that's what I just did here. Let's see, they said 5. Can you see? If you say 5, you can say 10, you can say any number if you need to return just a specific character. So if you need to read line by line, you use the read line method. So if I need to read line by line, so all I have to do is f dot read line instead of ordinary read. Can you see? It's read the whole line. What if I need to call two names? I want it to read 2 times. So I'm just going to call the read line 2 times. Read line. I think my time is gone. I don't have much time. F dot read line. Okay. Okay. So how do we write what is it called? Writing file. You know, we just talked about we just talked about reading, which is writing. So let's talk about which is reading. Let's talk about writing, which is W. So how do we use how do we write to files? Okay. let's say, for example, I want to write to, let's say the name of the file I want to write to is data. I want to write to this particular file. Data is equals to, what's that thing I want to write? Okay. I am an aspiring data scientist. I am presently learning the basics of Python. Okay. So I want to write this particular, this is the name that I want it to take. So I'm going to use with open. It's open, then I have data, which is the name that I've given my file, .txt. I'm going to have this in a string. Then what mode do I want to use? I want it to write, which is W. I want it to write. Then, okay, as what? I want it to write as file. Write as file for me. File dot write. So write this particular file inside this data. So if I should run this, I hope this is not going to return error. Let me see. Okay. This shouldn't return error. Okay, so I've written my file here. So how are we going to show that what we've actually written is it has actually written? So all I have to do is, let's check my working directory. Can you see? 20 seconds ago, data.txt. So if I should open this particular file, it's going to bring out this text which I've written. Don't forget, your text file can have as many information as possible, as much, as long as a story, just like you have it. These are stories. Okay. Then, so that's how to write. If I just use your with open, don't forget how to use your what's it called, your mode and all of that. Okay, so the next thing is how to append file. So append, which is A. What's the time? 5. Let's see. Okay. So how do we use our append? Say for example, I want to append anything you want to do, you want to read, you want to write, you always use your with open. With open. I created data here. Okay, so let's use that data. That's txt. Then the mode is going to be A. The mode is A because I want to append. If I want to write, I use W, remember, and if I want to read, I use R as file. So I have file dot write. So what is that thing that I want to create? I want to create, let's look for another text. I am learning one or two things in Python basics. Oh, I already learned. Anyhow, Okay, so this is what I want to write to create. Then, so if I should run this, it's going to run, but I want it to read. So read, I want it to read. So what is it going to read? I'll use my with open again. What's the name of my text file I created? Data.txt. Okay. Now I'm not appending again. I want to read this. So I'm going to use R, which means read. Then as file. Then print. What is that thing that I want it to print for me? Print file dot read, or let me use read, or let me okay, you should just read the line. You should not start writing stories. Just read line. Okay, so it has appended this one that we created. I already learned the basics of Python. Can you see this? It's here. Where is it again? I already learned the basic. It has appended it to the data that we created, the initial data that we created here. So that is how appending works. So how does create works? Let's give ourselves an example on that. Okay, I think I need to be fast. Time has gone. Okay, so how do we create file? Let me just, so while true, I say the file name is, I want to input. Okay. What's the name of the file I want to create? Let's say I already used data. Let's say start. That's the name of the file I want to create. And I have my column. Sorry, I have my column. Then I say try. File name. That's the file name that I have there. Comma. I want to create. For create, we use X. Okay. As file. What do I want to create? I learn everything. Learn everything. That is what I want to create. Then print. Where's my F string? Print file. What's the file? I have my place so that this file that I have here, file name, create or created successfully created. Okay, let's continue. Or let me, I think this is too long. Let me break this. Break. I want to break. Then except if a file exists, L print F string if I already exist. Okay, so let me check if I did not make a mistake. Okay, so what I want to create impute. Okay, try with open file name x as file, then write this. Okay. Mm. Okay. Okay, so if let's say the name of, what's the name of the file I created here? I have file name. Let's see. File does not exist. But good. So that's it. The file name that we created here are successfully created. So what I basically did was to use the try and except error to catch if what I wrote, if any file name I input is, if it already exists or not. So if it already exists, it should tell me that the file name already exists. And if what I wrote, if I input, just like I did earlier, I used the example, this file name does not exist. File exists error. That's because it does not exist. But when I used the file name that I created, that's file name, then okay, the file already exists. That's because I've run it before. Okay, so let's just continue. So what's the time again? 5:42. So pandas, how do we pandas within CSV? I'm going to, the correct code for this is going to be sent to us by the special grace of God. Okay, so how do we read pandas? So pandas is actually a very powerful and popular Python library, which is used for data analysis and manipulation. So it is widely used for managing structured data. So a simple way to store big data is using the CSV files. When you're working with big data, it's best saved in CSV format. So we are not going to take much of our time in this aspect of reading Pandas. So all you have to do first when you want to read your CSVs is to make sure your Pandas has been installed. For me, my Pandas has already installed, and for most of us, Pandas is usually being installed. It's part of the packages that come with Jupyter when you are installing it. So, but if peradventure you were not able to find, if Pandas is not part of what was installed or something, so the way to install Pandas is just by using your this exclamation, then you have pip install pandas. So with this, if you run this, it's going to automatically install. If I should run this, it's going to tell me that I already have pandas in my system. Why is it taking this long? It's taking long to run. So that's how to install pandas. Can you see requirements already satisfied? That's because I already have pandas in my Jupyter. Okay, so how do we import any library or package? To import anything, so all you have to do is just like pip install, just to install. So to import, all you have to do is you write import pandas. So once you write this, you automatically imported pandas. But to make our work more efficient, faster, and more professional and organized, we normally write import pandas as PD. So PD here is an alias for pandas, which we use. So this is how to import pandas. So can we see? Pandas is usually imported under the PD alias. So that is how to import pandas. Let's now say you want to import pandas and you want to assign it to a particular variable. All you have to do is define the name of the variable. Let's say, for instance, I want to name it df is equals to, okay. I already said import pandas as pd. Then, okay, pd dot, that's pandas dot. I want to read the CSV file. All I have to do is read underscore CSV. The same thing is applicable to Excel file. If you want to read Excel file as well, all you have to do is pd.read underscore Excel. So read Excel, then you input the part name that you want to read that particular file. So for example, here we have demo. We are going to use a practical example. Demo2 .csv. So with this is not going to run because this is just this is just a dummy data. This is not correct. So it's going to automatically return error. So let's say, for example, we want to import data. Let's say I want to import a real data now as PD. Then I want the data I want to import to be saved on that data. Then I'll have pd dot, the data type I'm bringing is CSV. So read CSV. So what's the directory? This is where you input the directory of the file. Okay, so I want to check the file I want to use. Let me see. Okay, I want to use this particular CSV. So I'm going to copy the path. I'm going to copy the path. So that is what I'm going to paste here. So if I should run this, this is going to bring out the data. Okay. If I should run this, this is going to print out the whole data frame for me. Yes, this is what I have in my CSV file. There are lots of work to do with this. There are lots of work to do with this. But what I just want, on the final note, what I just want us to understand is that uh, you have to take notes while writing your directory. You have to take note of this forward and black, this backslashes. Okay. If I should write, let's see, my double slash, this is still running quite all right. But what if I write, this is going to return, oh, okay, this is going to return an error. Can you see? So that is why it is better for you to just copy the path straight so that you won't start giving yourself headache. So with this is how to import CSV file using the pd.read CSV. So in summary, we've for file handling, to read CSV file, we use the pd.read CSV. Then for this, it's the same thing for Excel, pd.read underscore Excel. Then for other file formats, we have the .txt, which we use the with open. Then you have your file name, comma, the mode, either read, write, create, append, or whatever. Then you input your code, the encoding, which is usually the UTF-8, then as whatever name you want it to open with. So I think that will be all for this, the first session. Thank you very much for your time. I don't know if there are questions actually. I know there will be questions. So this will be all for this first section. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the wonderful session. So we really appreciate your efforts, and it's an eye-opening one, and we've learned a lot from everything that you've taught today. All right, so without wasting much of our time is fast spent already. We are going to continue from, we are going to take the next part of the session, so which is still data collection, even though she has taken some parts of data collection, but there are some important parts which are needed to be touched as well. Now, this is not a data science course. This is not a data analysis course. This is a data science course. And as a data scientist, you should know how to collect data. You should know how to collect data aside from making use of text files, or you are making use of txt file, or you are making use of .csv file. Yeah. So I would just want to make emphasis on some things. I would just want to enlighten us on some things when it comes to data collection aspects, when it comes to the files aspect. Now, just like she said that we have text files, we have Excel files, and we have flat files. Now, flat files themselves are they are different from Excel files, and they are different from text files. Now, flat files contain something which we know as delimiters. We call them delimiters. They contain something which is called delimiters. So they are always separated by one delimiter or the other. That is what flat files are always separated by. So, okay, let me say, for example, we have please kindly share your screen so that I can present. Now, looking at this, for example, now this is how a flat files, this is how it is being occurred. Now, let's say, for example, we have files with name, let me say ID, and we have something like a department. Now, if you write a file like this, and let me say the name, you write something like favor, and ID, you have something like 1001, then department, let's say we have finance, for example. Now, when you want to create flat files, you can create flat files directly from your text editor. For example, if you have a notepad, you can just write a flat file. Now, for this is a CSV file. How? Because it is separated by comma. That is why we call it comma separated values. So it is separated by comma. So you can see name, comma, ID, comma, department. Then this we have favor, comma, 1001, comma, finance. Now, there is something that we need to know about CSV files, and the thing is that for files like this, for flat files in general, it is not only CSV we have CSV, which is tab separated value as well. Now, for files like this, each line represents a row. Can you see? So which means if I want to interpret this in form of a data frame or in form of a data set, it means that this first line is one row, this second line is another row. So if I should move on to the next line like this, it means that I'm definitely writing another row. Did you get that? Now, automatically, when you make use of libraries like pandas, just like you said, pandas is used for data cleaning, for all the data analysis tasks. That pandas is used for it. So you make use of when you want to write your when you want to when you want to interpret it as a normal table. This name, ID, and department automatically, since they belong to the first row, automatically pandas detects that they are the column heading. Can you see? They are the column heading. Why subsequent rows are known as the other rows which are contained in the data. Now, aside from comma, sometimes they may be separated by tab. For example, if you write name and you press tab on your PC, you write ID, you press tab on your PC. So this type of separation is separated by tab. So in this case, this one too will be the same thing. It means that they are separated by tab. So we call them tab separated value. Now, sometimes it may not even be tab. It can be separated by semicolon. Look at it, can also be separated by semicolon like this. So in such case, you can also import such files, which can happen in this form. I'm saying this because as a data scientist, sometimes you collect data, even flat files, and you see them, when you import it, you just see that it's not showing in form of a table. The first thing you need to do is to check if you make use of the right delimiters in the file. Now, if you are using the right delimiters, then it means that there's something definitely wrong with the data you are trying to import. Now, for cases like this, where you need to import something like this, what you just need to do is, I'm coming, now you have import pandas as PD, and you need to import something that is separated by semicolon. So you just say pd.read.csv. This is just an example. Then the name of the file. Let's say the name of the file is data.csv. Then you now put sep, can you sep equals semicolon. So in this case, it will, instead of, by default, pandas makes use of comma. It automatically assume that they are being separated by comma. But you can, in the case whereby they are not separated by comma, maybe they are separated by colon or semicolon, you will definitely indicate that. So that is all for CSV. Sometimes tab separated value can also be saved as .csv, while sometimes it may be saved as .tsv. So aside from CSV, TXV, Excel file, do we have other files? Yes, we have so many of them. We have .feather. We have .feather. There's a file format which we call .feather, which is also a flat file. We have .pickle and so many of them. We have so many of them. Now, if I'm to work with advanced analysis, or I'm dealing with some advanced analysis or some advanced data whereby my columns have some special attributes. In such case, I won't use .csv to save my file. I would rather use .feather, or I make use of .pico. Why? Because .feather or .pico will retain the attributes or the kind of data type that each of my column represents, but .csv can just ignore it. Recently, I'm working on a cryptography task and I need to save some of those values in bytes. So when I save to .csv and the next day I try to import the data again, the byte was converted to string. And for me to convert that byte to a, even though it is in bytes, for me to convert it back to a real byte, then I started facing serious problem. So I had to rerun the code and save at .pico so that next time when I'm importing the data, it will import normally, maintaining all the old data types which are to be needed. That is why cases like this, sometimes it is best you make use of a database. You store your data into a database because the database itself will retain the actual attributes of the columns. So that is about that. Aside from that, you can also collect image data. Now you'll be wondering, sometimes you see some people making use of image. They analyze image. You can perform classification tasks on images. As a data scientist, it is part of what you'll be doing. Class, for example, now you have images. You want to say, for example, you want to build a model that will be able to distinguish between a female plant and a male plant. Let's say just like an example, a female plant and a male plant. In such case, you can't tell them how do you collect such data. You get the images of female plants and male plants. You label them. After labeling them, then you fit in your model to get the results you need. Now, how are these images being handled in Python? How do you handle them when it comes to machine learning or when it comes to data science? Now, in such case, now let's say, for example, there's a popular library we make use of. We call it the OpenCV, which is also known as CV2. It is used to handle images. But if you start learning anything that deals with images, you must definitely know about this library. It's a very popular one. Now, I have an image in my directory. Look at it. The name of the image is, let me make use of gen.jpg. So I'll just say cv2.image, then gen.jpg. So if you run this, can you see that it has converted the image into numerical values? Can you see? Now, if you look for the shape of this image, it is it is in 3 channels. Now, when you get to this stage, then we would have to discuss more on it. Now, what I'm just trying to say is that in this case, the images has been converted into numerical values, into pixels. Yeah, from 0 to 255 into pixels. And these pixels can now be analyzed to do whatever you want to do or to perform whatever you want to perform. Now, if you are not sure, if I want to view this image now, for example, I want to view this image to see what is there. We have visualization library, which we call matplotlib. So you can use plt.imshow. Now, I've defined the image. Since I import it, I named it as image. So I can just say, so if we should run this, it will show us the image. Can you see? So this is the image that is being displayed. This is the image that, so this is the image I have. So I don't want to spend much time. So you should know that the image that was imported was an actual image. So you can definitely convert it back, or you can also view it when needed. Sorry, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
All right, thank you. So that is how to import image. So you can do so many things with image. You can analyze it, you can make prediction with it or something like that. So I'm just trying to tell you that it is not just data in form of text or in form of CSV that we do collect. We collect real world data. You collect image, you analyze them, you make prediction, you can perform different type of algorithm which you prefer. So that's it. So aside from image data, another data collection which is also very important, just like she said, is collecting data from the web. Now, as a data scientist, I'm not treating you guys as an analyst now. Now you're a data scientist. As a data scientist, you must know how to get data from the web. Now, we have several ways of getting data from the web, and one of the most important ways of getting data from the web, you can get data through the use of API. Are you with me? API, we call it application programming interface. Now, what does API means? API means just like an application programming interface that helps you to interact, or that helps you reach you and where you want to get the data from, to make a kind of interaction. Are you with me? Now, let's say, for example, you went to a restaurant, you need to order food, you call the waiter takes your order, takes it to the kitchen. Now, that waiter is just like an API. It takes it to the kitchen process your order, give it back to the waiter, and the waiter comes back to you. So that waiter is acting in place of an API. So just like a secure connection, that is what an API is all about. And today also I'm going to briefly touch how you can collect data through the web. I won't be covering the use of API. That one will be taken in our training session, because we do not really have enough to cover. Now we have different types of APIs, so many of them. We have the REST API, we have the local APIs, and so many of them. Now, what are the things? What are the methods? API makes use of what we call the HTTP method to connect to the server where you want to get the information from. Now we have different methods that is being available for API. We have the get method, we have the post method, we have the put method, and we have the delete method. Now, let's say, for example, you want to get something from, now, you want to get something. There was a time I was working on a Twitter data, and I make use of Twitter API. Now, if I want to get data on Twitter, let's say I want to get information about a particular hashtag, you can make use of Twitter API and use .get. It will fetch the data for you and get it for you. That is getting. Now, for posting, it means that you want to post information there. It's just like you want to upload your information. So you can also post through your API, and as well you can put. Now, put means you want to update. Maybe you want to update your data, you want to edit, or you want to perform something like that. And also you can also delete. So these are the things that an API can do. It can perform getting of retrieving of information, it can perform posting, it can perform the work of put, and as well it can what? It can delete. So I'm going to simply make use of one of the libraries we use to get data from the web. We call it request library. It's called request library. Now, for requests, now I'm going to go to my other screen and search for something like, let me see. I'm going to search for um, rank by country in Africa, for example. Now, if I have something like this, okay, let's make use of GDP, like list of African countries by GDP. Now, we have this data, for example, look at it. These are the list of African countries. As a data scientist, we are told to, from your company, they told you that, oh, please go and collect the list of African countries by their GDP. Then you now see something like this. How do you collect this? Will you start downloading them? No, you don't need to. There's no even way to download in this scenario. What you just need to do is to, from your Python package, you can definitely get this information. Yes. you can definitely get this information. Now, let's assume Wikipedia, which they do. Wikipedia has an API. You can download Wikipedia API. Then when you look at how they use them, then you can interact with the API to search for some information. But in the case where API is not available, then you can web scrape information. Now, this web scraping is an hack that is being used by big companies to get data. Because me personally, or let me say, I own a website. For example, Amazon, for example. Amazon, we have different products and their reviews. If you look at Amazon website, the maximum number of reviews you can see per product on Amazon is 100. But in the product page, you'll be seeing that the product has 8,000 so reviews. Why? They already cut out some of the reviews because they know if those reviews are available, data scientists will come to their page, web scrape the whole reviews, analyze them, and be able to infer decision on the type of product that is needed by the end users. So that's one of the keys. So most of the time, all these API they don't really give out some vital information because they know that if you have them, then you can make a lot of money. And that is why some website does not support web scraping. So sometimes you want to web scrape a website, please you can always check if the website supports web scraping or not. So it is against some website guidelines, but some data scientists still use it even without permission of those websites because the information they get there is always top notch and it is the real data they are looking for. All right, now one of the library we have is the request. Now I want to connect request library with this page, this list of African page. Now let's see. So let me call my URL is this, which means the page name, that is the URL. If I say REQ, which is my request, equals to request. Now I told you that an API, this is acting in form of an API. You can post, you can put, and you can delete. So this website, there's now you want to post there because you are not logged in. If you want to post something, you must be logged in through the API or you must have an API key. Now, if I say plus get URL, this is my URL, and I run this. Now, if I now say RAQ dot, now I want to know if what's it called? If request library successfully connected with the website. So you print the status code. Now, we have several status codes. For those of you that are not new to, some of us visit some web page and you see the right 404. 404 simply means not found. We have 200. Whenever you see 200, 200 means they successfully have an handshake, which means it successfully connects with the website. So I can definitely take out some things from this page. I can print out the title of this page. I can print out so many things. Just like I said earlier, that the use of this request library is to connect with the website. But if I need to get some information about the website, then it is important we make use of some libraries. One of the important libraries we use is the beautiful soup library. Don't worry, in Python you hear some language, you hear some libraries that does not even make sense. Since we are even starting with Python itself does not really make sense. So beautiful soup. So if you want to import beautiful soup, we have from BS4 import beautiful soup. Beautiful soup is one of the libraries we use for web scraping. As a beginner, when you want to dive, some people what they do is web automation. That is, they use beautiful soup, they use so many libraries, they use Selenium, they use Scrapy, and so many other libraries like that. This is what they use for their web automation. Now from BS4, import beautiful soup. Then I'm going to instantiate this beautiful soup so that I can always use it. Now my soup is now attached to beautiful soup. Now connect I can now connect the whatever information I get here. I want to connect it with this beautiful soup. So I will just say soup equals to beautiful soup. Then I will just say, let's say page equals to, oh, sorry. Soup equals to beautiful soup. I'm not done. Beautiful soup. Then what are you connecting to the beautiful soup? REQ, which is what we get from this request library. Dot. We have REQ. Incoming. We have parser. It doesn't use parser explicitly. I'm coming. Let me import beautiful soup first. Let me see if beautiful soup is in my, yeah, it is there. Now, in the case whereby you don't have beautiful soup, if you use this, run this part of code and you did not have beautiful soup, you have to use pip install, just like the way she said the other time. So here I can now say dot content. Now, if you should run this, I'm going to have soup. Now, this HTML page is now inside our soup here. I'm just using soup, don't mind me. It's now inside our soup here. Are you with me? It's now inside our soup. Now, for when you are making use of beautiful soup makes use of different parsers. We call them parsers, which means how do you want to read the content of REQ? How do you want to read them? They have different parsers. Are you with me? We have so many of them. We have so many of them. But in this case now, we have, okay, we have basically, we have four of them. We have the XML, we have HTML5 live, we have LXML, and we have the HTML.parser. HTML. So you can use any of these four. But let me just give you an hint. The best one to always use is XML, and LXML are one of the best. So you can just make use of any of them. Sometimes HTML5 live can be slow, or sometimes you may not be able to get the structure of the web page very well. Now, we should print soup. Let me just print the title of the page. Soup.title. Can you see list of African countries by GDP nominal, Wikipedia? Can you see that it successfully gets the data from the web? So that is how the requests and the beautiful soup library. So with this, I can even get this data frame. So if I'm interested in getting this data frame, I can definitely get it, but that is not the case what we want to achieve today. Now, beautiful soup. For you to know how to perform web scraping, you must have some basic understanding of HTML. So it's not a must to know it for very, very well, but you must have some basic understanding of HTML. So I'll just take you through how HTML, what it's all about, and I want to take you through how to make use of this soup library. So I'll just introduce you to this soup library, for example. Now, I'm coming. I want to open this file. I think it's in dots. I want to look at the file format. .jpg. Okay. Now look at this is just an example of how an HTML this thing looks like. So I'm going to use, because this soup library has some methods that are very, very funny. So I want to explain them to you guys. Now look at this. This is the HTML. So whenever you have the HTML, it means that you are dealing with the HTML tag. Now in the web page, if you look at head and body, they are on the same line. So which means head and body in this case, they are brothers. It's just like a family tree. They are brothers. So definitely they are children to HTML. So head and body are what? They are brothers. They are siblings. Are you with me? They are siblings. They are basically siblings. Are you with me? Why title in this case now is the child of head. You see, look at header, navigation, NAV, main, aside, and footer. They are child to what? To body. So this H2P, this P, this P, this P, they are the descendants of HTML. So you know what we mean by normal family tree. And if you look at it, this person, H1, and this person, they are what? They are, if you make use of, this is an element, we call it an element. This is also an element. Are you with me? This is an element, this is an element, this is an element. This A is a sibling to this A. This one is a sibling to this A. So all these method, all these words I'm calling, you will know why I'm saying them. So this is basically a sitemap of a page. When you get to the home page, you will see something like about us, our product, contact us. So this about us, they are like on that page, on that particular page, they are like the child, they are like a child to the home page itself. So I want us to make a practical, to actually make a practical web scraping of a particular web page. So the name of the web page is booklist.au. Okay. And this is the web page. This is the web page. Now, can you see? This is the web page. This web page, this website itself is like a library whereby you have different we have different stores and what they sell. Are you with me? I think with different schools as well. Now this is year 5, which means for college students, Emmanuel Anglican College year 5, these are the books that they buy. These are the books, this is the SPNO code, this is the REQDM, this is the quantity that, in case you want to purchase, the quantity that is required, the price of the book itself. So by this quantity, this price will change. Are you with me? If it is one quantity, it will multiply by 9.49. If it is two, subsequently it will do that. Now, this is how this page, you must understand the structure of the page. You know, this page, I have 4010. If I should visit 4011, 4011 is for which page? You see that it's not for Emmanuel College. 4011 is for Evans River K-12 School, year 10. If you visit 4012, 4012 is for Evans River K-12 School Senior. Now, you are employed as a data scientist to work in this library, in this particular, and you are told that, oh, you need to get all the whole information, or you want to make analysis. Sometimes you want to make a research and you need the details of all these schools, then their products, and maybe you want to analyze the quantity against the price or something like that. So you need to collect this information. You can't, it is not reasonable if you now start sitting down, then you now start navigating through the pages one after the other, then you start writing them inside the table, or you open an Excel sheet somewhere, then you now start copying and pasting. When will you finish? When it can be automated and it can be done in a matter of minutes, depending on the number of page that you want to do. Now, so this is the page I'm going to be using for today. So this is the page we'll be using. So now let me copy this again. I'll copy this again. I'll copy this again. So I'll paste it here. Now, this is the web page we are dealing with. So we are going to make use of just one first, because we want to write a code that will kindly help us get so
Sorry,
many data.
sorry, I cannot see your screen again.
Hello, can you see my screen? Please, if you can't see my screen, raise up your hand.
I can see. Okay.
No, 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 no.
Is there another person that is not seeing my screen?
It's back now.
It's back. Oh, thank you. All right. Now, this is the page we want to deal with now. This is the page we are dealing with. So this is our URL. Good. Now, we just want to focus on this particular page first. Then we will now automate it in such a way that it will help us web scrape multiple pages. Now, note that this website, I have visited the website and I can see that the structure of the website is it's a very simple one. It's not something, sometimes you may face websites with tight securities. Are you with me? So, but all these, we are not going to cover it here. So all those ones are for, is contained in our training sessions. Now, if we have this, we have soup equals to req dot get URL. So let's connect to this web page too. So this is basically how to connect. Use request dot get the URL name followed by the soup. Now I will explain this. You know, I've explained this family structure earlier on. So if you have soup, if you want to check, oh sorry, this is how did I copy this? This should be beautiful soup, then req dot content, comma lxnl. Now we have this. So let's see. So the first thing you do is to check the status code to know if it successfully connects or not. Sorry, I should have made use of it from here. You check it from the request, not from. Good. We are good to go. Sometimes some websites will not connect, but I can tell you that there is basically no website that you can't web scrape, irrespective of the kind of security that is being attached to it. But you must be very careful. So that's it. Now, soup, if you want to check the title of a page, you make use of soup.title to give us the title. Can you see the name of the title of the page is Dolphin Office Choice, back to school supplies dot something. Now, if you want to check for the head, head, you can use .head. Now, this is the header part of the website itself. These are everything that is being contained. So, but I'm not interested in this. I'm interested in the text that is in the head. So you can use get text. Can use get text. Can you see this is the content? Those ones could include the tag and everything, but the content itself that is contained in the head is Dolphin Office Choice, back to school supplies, school book list. So it's basically the same thing with the title. Now, what do we mean by title? This is the title here. Look at the title here. This thing that is always at the top is called the title. Why the head is somewhere here. So this is the head. So that is it. So let's proceed. If you want to check the head, use soup.head. If you want to check for link, you want to check for link. Maybe if there's a link on the website, any link, you use soup.a. Can you see? Even though this is the first, it's now all these ones we print. If we have edge with multiple, if we have multiple edge, let's say on the website we have h1, h2, h3, h4, this dot edge we only get for the first h. Are you with me? So but if you want to get for h1, you can say soup.h1. Can you see Dolphin Office? If you want to get for h2, soup.h2. Can you see h3? Can you see? So you can get for different heads. As you can see here, these are the information we are getting. Dolphin Office, this is h1, h2. I think all these ones are h3 or something like that. So that is it. So aside from, now you can get paragraph too. And now this soup.p, it means we want to get the first paragraph on the web page. So if you get soup.p, looking at it from here, since it doesn't bring any result, I suggest that there is no any paragraph on the page. Even before, the page does not contain anything like, can you see, none. So if it doesn't return anything like that, then it means that it's not getting there is no any tag of such. Tag of such does not exist. So we have done h1, h2, h3, a and p. Now this is what I want to do. I thought about siblings the other time. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get, let me see if I don't want to dive into this, but I'm going to dive into it. eventually. Now, if you want to, I said it the other time that if you are dealing with, if you want to web scrape a web page, number one, you must have some basic knowledge of HTML. And number two, you must understand the structure of the web page. Are you with me? You must understand the structure of the web page. Now, if you want to inspect the web page, you right click. I hope you can see that. You right click. When you right click on your web page, it brings a menu. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
All right, right click. It brings out a menu. Then you click on inspect. Now, when you click on inspect, then you will see by the side it brings out a code. It will bring out a code, which means the HTML structure of that page itself. Now, let's inspect this page together. This page starts with head. This is the doc type HTML. So telling that this page is an HTML page. So we have the head. Look at head and body. Those are the two siblings to, or let me call it children. Yes, they are the two children to the HTML itself because they are embedded inside the HTML. So if we should click, so if we should click, can you guys see my screen well?
Yes, we can.
All right.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you. So if you can't see it, please kindly zoom out the screen so you can see it well. All right. So this is it. Now we have the page here. These are the HTML. Can you see that once I'm putting my mouse on this thing, it will highlight the whole page. Now I want to get, this is what we are interested in. We want to take out this table from this web page. That is what we are interested in. So, but let's start from here. Let's start from taking out this Emmanuel Anglican College Year 5. So what you do is come here, click on it. When you click on it, can you see you have an over something. Then you come to this Emmanuel College Year 5 and you click on it. Now when you click on it, page will take you to this page will take you to this code part will take you to where the text itself is contained in the HTML. Now look at it now. If you should look at, this is div id equals to blist. We have div id equals to title. Then inside the div id we have the h1 and this is the closing tag for the div. So this is where this particular this thing is actually contained in. So this is what we are going to do. I want to get this page. Now the name of the container is called div. The name of the tag is called div. And the attribute that is associated with the tag is that id equals to blist. Okay, so you come here, you now say soup dot find. What are we finding? Div, because that is the name of the tag we are looking for. Now, what is the attribute? The attribute is that id equals to blist. Now, if you run this, can you see? It will return that part of code. But since what we need there is not the tag and everything, we just need the text itself. So what you just do is to say dot get text. So it will get, look at it, getting some this thing. We can still strip it. We can still strip it. Dot strip. You have been taught, when you are dealing with string, and I tell you that when they tell you that there are some methods that are associated with a string, these are the things that they mean. When you strip, it strips away some parts. Now we still have some things that are not included, which we still need to remove. What we just needed here is Emmanuel Anglican College Year 5. All these things are just extra context which we don't need. Aside from .get text, you can also use .text too. So sometimes it works with .text as well. So if you use .text, .strip, the same thing. But I think for the latest updates of of this thing itself, you making use of dot get text is most appropriate. So that is it. So I'm going to stop here for today because our time is fast spent. I'll be stopping here for today. So by tomorrow, we are going to continue from here and we are going to complete the web scraping of this page that we are actually interested in. So let me take question. If you have question, please kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ismail and Ms. Kausal. We really appreciate your wonderful lecture. My question has always been that I am sorry I have not done the first assignments because I've not been able to actually understand the first two lectures. I'm still struggling with that. And the reason is for not far-fetched is just because of the fact that I didn't get the link on time actually. So my question now is, please, how can we get access to this so that we can just go through it and go through it so that it will actually ease our understanding. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, you're welcome. So we are going to drop the link to this recording as well. The class is being recorded. So we are going to drop the link to the recording as soon as it is available. And also I would say thank you for your kind words. We really appreciate it. Any other question? Please kindly ensure you fill in your attendance form. It is very important. You can see that some people are having issue filling their attendance. I think the page, okay, someone is raising up his hand. Please kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you for the session. It's just on the attendance. We've been saying we've not. I personally have not been able to open it, and I can see that person are some other people are also giving the same reports as regard the attendance.
All right, thank you. Please, I don't think the opening of the attendance should be a problem. Please, you can make use of your incognito browser to see if it will open there. Is there another person facing the same problem? Unable to visit the page itself.
Yes, exactly. I'm facing the same issue, like I've complained.
You're unable to visit the page, right? Or what?
Yes, yes. I was unable to get to the page while I will put my ID and other information. I think you get that.
Yes, I get it. I get it.
uh
Any other
So
person? All right. I think those two people that are complaining now, please send me your details. I will send me your details, your mail and your ID. I'm going to fill it in for you. So we've come to the end of today's session, and thank you all for
all right, thank
attending.
you.
It's really wonderful having you here. So tomorrow the session continues at the same time.